Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Conversations of a Sister here on my YouTube channel, Conversations of a Sister. I thank you for tuning in tonight. And no, I didn't announce this week's topic because I was undecided regarding this week's topic. Last week, I spoke about nothing peaceful about January 6th when there was a riot on the Capitol. And I had a friend of mine who told me that there was something wrong with the recording. And when I went back to listen to the recording, I noticed that it it had cut off part, or I'm going to say right at the cusp of last week's conversation. So I don't know what happened. I'm thinking that when the YouTube information came up, it recorded it at 15 to 20 minutes. And based upon when the show went live, and it ended it prematurely. So I'm thinking that that's what happened in last week's conversation. So this week's conversations of a sister, I want to talk about health is wealth. Health is wealth. And when I say health is wealth, I'm not just talking about what we eat every day and what we consume as a beverage or beverages. I'm talking about what is healthy for our minds and what is healthy for our thoughts, because health actually does equal wealth. You have to think about the right things in order to manifest those things in real life. And I've always said that nothing good will come from a negative mind, a negative thought, or a negative conversation. So, health is wealth, is this week's conversations of a sister. And I had dinner with a friend of mine over a week ago. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of times we get off track in our daily regimens. And a lot of things can take us off track. For example, when some people are depressed, they overeat. They may overindulge on sweets or, high carbs, food that is going to make them feel good. But it's a temporary feeling. And we've all been there. When some people get depressed, they eat cookie dough or a cake or cookies, or they just overindulge because they are depressed. They may overindulge on beverages. They may overindulge on foods that are not good for you. And what's happening is you're eating based upon your emotion. So when this is something that is practiced daily, you will get off track. And before you know it, you'll be overweight. And then before you know it, you'll have a health issue. And that is the biggest trick of the enemy, is to get you to first worry, to first think negative based upon that worry, and then to have you eat. And then before you know it, you are out of control. And don't get me wrong, we overindulge and we will splurge sometimes a little. And that's okay as long as we are able to pull ourselves back and to get on track. And with regards to our thoughts and keeping our thoughts pure is something that is constant, because it's easy to think negative. And Lord knows, that happens to me a lot. But it's easy. It's easy to always go left and think the worst. I think sometimes it's human nature, because some of us, we just can't help it. But I think that we have to make it a habit to automatically think on the bright side instead of thinking on the dark side. We have to automatically eat and indulge what's good for us instead of partaking of those things that will have a negative effect on us. For example, with the holidays coming up, people tend to overindulge. They tend to cook big meals. They tend to have a table, full of food. But I think that as we make choices in life and we choose those healthier options, we will approach the holiday menu with better options. I remember last year for Thanksgiving, because every year I go to my best friend's house, who, I consider a sister, and her daughter, whom I consider a niece. Last year, she made this Greek salad, and she didn't have like a dressing. You know how we have like French dressing, balsamic dressings. She didn't have that type of dressing in this salad. She kept the salad simple. She used olive oil and garlic and no dressing. Like I'm used to like a balsamic vinaigrette, you know, like a traditional dressing. But she didn't have that in this salad. And when I tell you the way that she made this salad changed the way that I eat salads now, from that one salad last year at Thanksgiving, it changed the way I eat salad because in the past year, I have not used a salad dressing since I've had her salad for Thanksgiving. So we make healthier choices as we learn to do better. So, how do we start? How is our health our wealth? Well, we start by healthier options. We start by having our intake less based upon our movement and the calories that we are burning. For example, like sometimes I'll have breakfast and I'll have lunch, and then I'll do a smoothie for dinner, you know, um, because a nutritionist told me once in order to lose weight, you have to do a cold breakfast, a hot lunch, and a cold dinner. And sometimes that's hard. I used to drink a smoothie religiously on my way to work. It's like I was able to ingest a smoothie, and that was like my breakfast, this smoothie. And then I would have a hot lunch and I would do a cold dinner. I would make it a salad. And I do that sometimes now. But I noticed that in the mornings, sometimes now that I've gotten older, it's hard to drink a smoothie because it is harsh on my stomach. It's like I automatically feel nauseous if I have something cold in the morning. But for those of you who can take it, the key to maintaining weight is a cold breakfast, a hot lunch, and a cold dinner. That's the key. And if you cannot maintain that, you do a full breakfast, a light lunch, and a light dinner. Why a full breakfast? Because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And you should have some type of movement. I've been working from home now, I'm going to say for a good 5 years since COVID. And when I think about the things that I did before I didn't work from home, I realized how active I was. So I felt like, I don't know, in the last year or two, I've gotten into this slump wherein, I wasn't moving that much because I was busy. Don't get me wrong. I'm always active because I'm the primary caregiver of my mom. I'm back and forth with her. I'm running around with her. So I was always active, but for me, it wasn't enough. I was like, it's just not enough. I want to feel the way I felt in 2019, 2020, before COVID really hit. I was like, I want that feeling back. So I joined the gym and I could not be any happier because joining the gym for me, it put me in check. And when I say it put me in check, I do high cardio Zumba classes. And when I'm not doing a high cardio Zumba classes now, I walk 4 trails around the park. And it evens out the steps that I take daily and keeps down my calorie count. But doing the classes in the gym put me in check, and even walking pushed you in check, because for me, it helped me to realize how out of shape I was, or how heavier I was. Because when you do the classes that I do, there are certain things that are required, and there are certain body parts that you start moving that your muscles remind you that you have forgotten about. So when you have that kind of checkpoint, it puts your ingest for food or your craving for food in check, because there are sometimes that I'll finish a class and I won't even have an appetite. And that's because my body is recovering from the beat down of the Zumba class. So it's almost like you're turned off from having a meal. Because for me, when I do a workout, I don't want to struggle, and I want to maintain. I mean, don't get me wrong, a struggle when you're working out is a challenge, but you want to be able to maintain. You want to be able to maintain momentum. You want to be able to keep up. And even if you can't keep up, you want to still continue to move, because the key is movement. You want to move, you want to remain active, because that's the key to health, is to remain active. And when you remain active in your body, you want to also remain active in your mind, because you want to keep your mind healthy by having healthy thoughts, not negative thoughts. Because again, negativity can easily creep in depending on your thought process, because our thoughts can go from 100 to 0. I know mine can in a minute. It's easy to go with me from 100 to 0. But I'm learning each day, when I get the lemons, to make lemonade. And when I get that thought, to reverse the thought. So this is why I love the scripture that states, whatsoever things are honest, true, pure, and of a good report. That means good things. You want to think on those things, because those positive thoughts is going to affect everything else in life, because it filters down. It's going to filter within. And when you think right, you want to eat right. Because my thought is, oh my gosh, a couple of weeks ago, one of my instructors was out. So she had given us another instructor. And this woman, to look at her, you would think that, you would, I don't know, underrate her. You wouldn't think that she would be up to par for a high cardio Zumba class. Well, let me tell you, that woman whooped our asses. She was like this big, and she kicked ass in that class. And when I was done, I was like, wow, I have a lot of respect for her, because I thought one thing when she presented another. And when I left class, I was like, oh my God, she did things that I had completely forgotten about. So now it's like I crave to take her more, because her workout is such a challenge. And it challenges you to burn that energy, to burn that fat. Because the way she had us lifting our thighs and high stepping, it's like you're going to feel it. So if you're uncomfortable doing it, the challenge is to get better at it. So when I work out, I like to feel light, especially on a Saturday morning. If I'm going to work out during the week, I may have a full breakfast, no lunch, work out, a light dinner. So I'll fast for lunch and then I'll have a light dinner, which will be something cold and most likely a salad. My neighbor was teasing me. She said, every night you have a salad because that's a cold dinner. That's a cold dinner. My computer is telling me that somebody is trying to chat with me, but they're unable to connect to the chat. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening that you're unable to connect to the chat. But that's something that we will make sure that is on next week because the chat is supposed to be on. So I think that's kind of weird. But as I was stating, when you are going to fast for dinner, in my opinion, what I do, if I'm going to fast for dinner, I'm going to be sure to have a breakfast, to have a healthy breakfast, because the most important meal of the day is breakfast. That's your first meal. And for me, breakfast will carry me for the entire day. But after I work out, I will have to have something light, but it will carry me for the entire day, that breakfast, because you want to cut back on your intake in order to have the burning of more calories. But I know that during the day, and you know, this friend of mine was telling me, she was like, you should have small meals throughout the day. You should snack on small things throughout the day. So I went out, I purchased nuts, I purchased grapes, because these are the small things that I want to snack on during the day. And nuts are really filling. My favorite nuts are cashews, pumpkin seeds. These are nuts that I'll snack on in between, and they are high in protein. So it will give you energy because you want to fuel your body with those nutrients and those foods that are going to give you energy. And if you have the energy, you will want to move. And if you want to move, you will do more. And as the weight start to fall off, you will feel better because health is wealth. Health is wealth. And the time to start is now. I shocked myself because I had been saying since last year that I was going to join the gym. And one day I was sitting here at my desk and I was like, that's it. I think a coupon came across through my work email about uh, a discount that we had at a gym that was near me. And I was like, oh, really? I jumped on it, I joined, and I went in the exact same day. And I did a class, I did the elliptical. It's like I just did everything. And I just felt 1,000 times better because I had did my first class. And now I am working my regimen into my daily schedule. It's challenging, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to feel better. And there's something about a sweaty workout that just gets my adrenaline going. So I feel like, wow, I'm almost back. I mean, I've been in the gym now 2 months, but I'm like, I'm not quite there, but I keep striving because I feel like I'm almost back. And I notice now that I am more conscious about the foods that I eat, about the things that I intake. Because after all, I am a pescatarian. And pescatarians sometimes can load up on carbs. And that's why you have some pescatarians that are thick, like me. And don't get me wrong, I like my thickness. I'm proud of my thickness, but I also want to be healthy. I want to be healthily thick and nicely proportioned. And that comes from movement. You want to stay active. You want to be able to move because health is wealth. And then you want to eat right because health is wealth. You want to intake those calories that are less and not high. You want to make sure that your chart is evenly keeled with a carb. It should be a healthy carb. I know that I switched from French fries, like white French fries, to sweet potato fries. Once in a while, I'll do a French fry, a white fry. If I don't know, I get a craving for it. I'll do a French fry once in a while. But I switch that carb for a sweet potato fry. So it's like you have to kind of switch out to what's a healthier option. Um, I'll do a salmon. I'll do a salad. I'll drop a little bit of grilled shrimp in it. I've loaded up on vegetables, more broccoli, more eggplant. I love eggplant. So I do more eggplant. I love salads, as I stated last year. Since last year, I've been doing salads often and different. And I no longer use salad dressings. I use pure olive oil and garlic. And I load up on olives because I have to have my Kalamata olives. So I load up on that. So the small changes matter. They matter in how you will begin to feel because what you partake is going to shine outward. Same thing with your thoughts. When you have positive thoughts, you make better decisions, even if that means keeping your mouth shut for a minute because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking it, but I'm not going to say it. You know, they say if you have nothing good to say nothing at all. So you're like, if I'm thinking it, oh my God, I'm thinking it, I'm not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it. Health is wealth. And that has a lot to do with the way we think. You have to think positive. I'm following this young lady on Instagram. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. I think she was 700 pounds overweight. This girl was really big. And I don't even know if it was 700. It might have been 500. I'm really not certain. All I can tell you is that she was grossly overweight. And what she did was she started chronicling her weight loss journey on Instagram. She had a surgery, and what the doctor did was he brought her down to the weight that she was supposed to be, and she's still overweight. So people were in the comments saying, how did she let herself get like that? Well, for some people, it's very easy. We don't know what her traumas were. We don't know what her triggers were, but it doesn't matter. She's in a place now where she's getting the weight off of her. So every day, someone films her running. I don't know if it's a coach or if it's a trainer. He films her running and he's saying encouraging things to her. He's playing encouraging music. And when I tell you this girl has lost, I'm going to say a good 400 pounds, she's getting there and she looks great. Her attitude has changed from day one up to now. And I think I've been following her now for the past year. She went from, working out, walking, running, not saying anything at all, to now working out, moving, and totally talking because she feels better about herself. And that's so important, is so that you feel better about yourself because a better you gives better results. You talk different, you move different, you act different, you start to incorporate things for your betterment and not the negativity of it all. Because it's easy to be negative, but it's just as powerful to be positive. I encouraged my bishop last week, long-time friend, to give up soda for 7 days. Because, by the way, we shouldn't drink anything dark unless it's pure apple juice. Nothing dark we should be ingesting. No sodas, nothing dark. Everything should be clear that we drink. And we should double up on waters with no sugar, but water, real water. And that was my challenge to him this week, to go 7 days without soda and see how better you feel. Your skin begins to clear. You feel better. You have energy because you're not ingesting a whole bunch of sugar by drinking a whole bunch of sodas, because those things are just not good for you. And they have caffeine in it. And caffeine is not good. Caffeine is not good. It's the biggest no no that we can indulge in. It's like, just don't do it. Health is wealth. So I implore my listeners tonight to think about what health means to you and how you can now incorporate that into your everyday living. That's my challenge to you. Because after all, health is wealth. We want to be healthy. We want to strive for healthier options. And that's something that we all should think about. How can I be healthier? What can I give up for 7 days and then give up for life to make me healthier, to make me better, think better, feel better, be better? Think about that. That's my thought for you. And whatsoever things are just, pure, honest, lovely, and true, I want you to eat and think on those things. And may they all be good. Until next week, health is wealth. Health is wealth. Health is wealth. Let that be your thought, and let's apply it. Until next week, our next Conversations of a Sister. We'll talk then. Bye.